Hi, Susie.
Hi.
I'm so psyched that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me today on Michelle's Conversations That Matter.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
I was so grateful to have met you through your brother, who I was introduced through a community that I'm a part of, who said, you absolutely have to talk to my sister, because I love what you guys are doing at Finn. And today we're here to talk about, can contribution strengthen your culture? And I think you have a few things to say about that, if I recall correctly. But before we dive in, just a few moments just to share what it is that I do with Michelle's Conversations That Matter. So I created this platform to really help us elevate the conversation around well-being, but also to touch on topics like this that help employees stay healthy, stay engaged. I have people on my show from all walks of life, from clinicians to individuals who want to share their story, to experts like you in these important areas that really do help us feel good about the work that we do. What I do professionally is I get to work with organizations to help them create cultures of compassion, but then also preserve emotional well-being and mental health through resilience programs and leader trainings. So that's what I get to do every day, and I love it. So like I said, we're going to talk about contribution. We're going to talk about your organization. I'm sorry, I'm getting an error on LinkedIn again. I can't win. Today's just not my day. Sorry. So we're going to talk about how contribution can strengthen your culture, and Finn and all the work you guys are doing there. So could you take a second to just introduce yourself, Susie, who you are, where you live, and what you do for a living?
So I actually love the fact that you ask who I am first, as opposed to what I do for a living. You know, I think a lot of times you kind of associate your job as being who you are. And it's so different, right? I'm a friend, a mom, a daughter, a wife, a sister to 5 brothers. You know, I love photography and travel. I love hiking, you know, as in addition to being, a champion for diversity in tech, being an advisor, being a mentor, being an entrepreneur. So I think, I love the fact that you asked all those things as separate things, because I think they are really, really separate. I'm also a proud and sometimes very cold New Hampshire resident. So today is one of those really cold, like really windy, cold days. So I do love living here, though. I love the state that I'm from.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about Finn. I'm so curious to have people know a little bit about your organization and sort of why you do the work you do.
Yeah, so Finn is a B Corp. I don't know how much of your audience knows what B Corp is, but a B Corp is all about, oh, I've lost you.
No, I'm here. I want to step aside and let you share.
Oh, sorry. So Finn is a B Corp, which is all about stakeholder capitalism as opposed to shareholder capitalism. It's all about caring about more than just profit. It's profit and purpose together. And I think that's really important to bring out, because that is something that Finn itself is about. It's about being a vision to be a force for good, an exponential force for good and compassion. And our mission is to help companies be great by doing good. So we do this through fun and purposeful team building experiences with social impact.
So what had you get into this? What had you say, I want to do this for a living? This is something I want to do. Because you work with your brother, which I love. I found out that this is a brother-sister organization, and I was like, this is amazing. So what had you want to do this work?
So my brother and I have worked together for decades. We actually were part of another company. We were both working in tech. I was a software engineer. And then I kind of graduated into database design and system design and director of product. And I loved putting, the tech together and all of that. But, as you go through life, things change. And I started to think like I wanted to make a difference, make an impact, and started to look at some of the issues I saw in the tech environment and get involved in a lot of, women communities in tech, and finding out that a lot of people were really discouraged by the culture of their companies. And so when Doug talked about starting Finn, and he founded this company that was going to be all about making a change to company culture and really kind of integrating purpose into the culture, it was so important for me to be part of that work. And since we work so wonderfully together, I was really excited to be part of Finn.
Why do you think philanthropy is so important when it comes to strengthening a culture?
Yeah, so I think, one of the things we don't really think about when we go to work, we're like, we're going to go to work and it's separate from our life, but it's really not. And for people to have purpose in their life, since work is so many hours of our, waking life, it's really important to have purpose in our work. And that philanthropy and social impact helps bring that purpose into our work. And I think, in looking at what's happened with the pandemic, and the fact that people are starting to reflect and saying, like, is this what I want to do? Is this where I want to be? Having that culture that pulls in that social impact and brings people into the company philanthropy itself really helps build that culture, saying, we care about you. We want you to know that what you're doing is making a difference. And this is one of the ways that you're helping make a difference.
I love that. And I think you're so right. I think that the pandemic really had people get present to what mattered most to them, whether it was their personal life or their professional life, whether or not the organization that they were a part of aligned with who they were, if they felt good about where they worked. And, I'm sure you've heard like all the news around the Great Resignation, where people are just like, maybe there's a better organization that's a better fit for me, or maybe organizations didn't do good by them and care for them during this pandemic when things were rough. So I think it's interesting. And I love that the idea of meaningful team building. I think that's incredible. And, I worked at an organization where there was this whole, giving campaign. I think a lot of organizations have giving campaigns. You can select the organization that you want to donate to. The company might match it. That's great. But the combination of bringing meaning into team building. Tell us a little bit about Finn and how it's transforming team building with the idea of purpose.
Right. So one of the things that, as we started to get into Finn and build this platform, we wanted to really bring in the employees into the decisions about where the philanthropy of the company was going. So in order to do that, we created a platform that can be used in a lot of different ways. And we realized that the best way to use it was to pull it into these team building exercises. So there's some really simple things you can do for team building. It doesn't have to be complicated. So we've created a Slack app, and you can pull it in Microsoft Teams. You can do emails, but the idea is to have the employees be part of the choice. So what we've been working with companies on is actually bringing employees into the conversation in the beginning about what they care about, find out what's important to them, match it with the company purpose, which is also important, and then launching these team building exercises based on that. So if sustainability is important to you and important to your employees, then they can help pick those causes that match what they really truly care about and be part of that. And so we've created some really fun things. We have a thing called Climate Quest, which is kind of one of our first escape room games. And that's all about sustainability, where you learn about different what we call planet protectors, different causes that do different things in the environment. And then the teams as a whole get to pick which one they want to donate the company's money to. So it's a really kind of fun team building exercise that they solve puzzles together, have some fun, but also learn about the environment, learn about climate change, and also get to pick which cause they think is most important as a team, and then also individually get to pick a cause as well. So it's kind of one of the ways that we're kind of incorporated our platform into a team building fun exercise.
How do you do an escape room virtually? So I can already hear the critics saying, say what? How do you do this? So I don't want you to give away your secret sauce, but like, how do you do that? How do you do that in a way where people are like, oh, not another Zoom?
Yeah. So what we've tried to do is, and it is, all of these things, people are just zoomed out, right? So one of the things is we have a facilitator, a live facilitator who does this. We've worked with an award-winning, world-class escape room creator. And so she's helped us do this. She's done hundreds of these escape rooms via Zoom. And so she has helped us create this, helped us make it fun. The facilitator makes a huge difference in this. because they're going to do the hard, heavy lifting and let people have fun. So we've incorporated like actors and videos and storylines and all of this into it. So it's not like you're sitting on a Zoom call. It's like you're participating, you're working together as a team, you're learning about each other, you're using communication skills in a very different way than you would in a normal Zoom call, but hopefully then maybe elevating some of the tools that you use yourself communicating later.
I guess it's kind of goes without saying that, like, I don't know if people oftentimes relate to their work experience as fun.
Right.
But why is fun such an important component of the work that you do with Finn?
Well, for us, it is so important, especially if you're working really, really hard, to be able to take that break and interject something that's a little bit different and gives you a different viewpoint. And it's been proven in a number of things that, there's lower levels of absenteeism, greater job satisfaction, increased productivity, less downtime when you allow that corporate culture to also include fun. It doesn't have to be hard work, even though it's work that might be hard.
Right.
So being able to take those team building experiences and those really purposeful things and interject a little bit of like like in our climate quest, people become cadets and they kind of go through and try to help commander climate. Like, I mean, it's silly, but it also creates kind of this fun, different atmosphere that you might not experience all the time in your job.
So what's been some of the feedback? Because I'm connected to a lot of HR professionals who are probably looking for creative ways to really help cultivate the culture, keep teams cohesive, especially, working remotely. A lot of people are not back in the physical workspace. So, like, what's been some of the feedback for those organizations who've secured you and you've been able to run some of these and, make a contribution to community efforts? Share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've actually had some great feedback, not just on the climate change escape room, but we've also run like Giving Tuesday campaigns for different companies where they allow their employees to help decide where to give the money to that they give as a company. And we've gotten tremendous feedback from that, especially when they've involved the employees in the decision making of what the 9 causes are maybe that they chose. So the employees have gotten back and said, this was so important to me to know that my company cared about this particular type of cause, because that is something that's important to me. And now I feel a little bit more seen and heard because they recognize this as one of the causes that I got to put the company's money towards. So we've gotten tremendous feedback from employees that way on the games that, that we've played, like the Climate Quest. We've gotten feedback in terms of not people just having fun, but also learning more, not just about their team, but about themselves and how they reacted and how that kind of made the team work or not work. And some really, really interesting debriefs and reflection upon going through something that's challenging together. So, we talked before about fun, but there's different types of fun. And there's the fun that's like you're in it and you're having fun and it's great. And everybody, you just know in the moment you're having fun. Mm-hmm. And then there's a type 2 fun, which is that it's challenging when you're going through it. Like, I've been on hikes where I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. But when I got to the top and when I reflected back on it later, I was like, that was such a great experience because you pushed yourself a little. And so some of that type 2 fun comes into some of these challenges as well. So it's that reflecting back and having a chance to debrief and think about it and the difference that it made. So it's really important to know for us, what is our client looking for? Are they looking for just that type 1 fun? We're going to make it that experience. Are they looking for that challenge that's going to bring people together as a team? We'll customize it to that experience. So it is kind of important to know what type of experience the client is looking for, and are they working on communication skills? Then we'll sit back and not facilitate as much and let them try to figure out the best way to communicate.
That's awesome. So I have to ask the question because I've been coined myself as the extroverted introvert. So, but people have different styles. And, I know for me, when the pandemic happened, I was like, I was already working from home, but I was also like, God, I could do this all day long. Like, I like this. I like my peace. I like my controlled space. I'm not really like, I am a people person, but I'm not. So how do you accommodate those people who just are sort of like, they're used to observing, they're kind of maybe like not willing to be vocal? Like, how do you accommodate introverts and extroverts in something like a escape room virtually?
Yeah, so one of the things we try to do in the escape room, there are people that don't like to do puzzles. And so they hear escape room and they're like, oh no, I don't want to be part of this.
Yes.
And I'm a person who loves puzzles, but I'm a little leery about like putting my answers in until I know they're right or speaking up. So what we try to do in the beginning, and we work with the facilitators on this, is letting people lean into the fact that they can have different roles. They don't have to solve the puzzles. There are so many parts, and this is what I think has happened on all the ones that I've facilitated, is that people in the end were like, everybody contributed in some way or another, whether they were the person taking the notes, whether they were the person reading the screens and kind of, they were the general who's telling people, oh, why don't we split up and do different things rather than us all going on this? Everybody contributed, not just the people who could solve the puzzles.
Okay.
So we kind of bring that out up front, and say, hey, if you're an introvert, you don't want to put your things in, we have this document. You can just put your answers into the document and not have to like speak at all. You can, we have shared documents, ways to do things that people who maybe are a little bit more hesitant can feel more comfortable. And we try to encourage that and bring that out. And that's important for people to know that first of all, not every fun thing that you do as a company needs to include everyone, but all in general, the fun things that you provide should include everybody.
Right.
So, maybe not everybody wants to be part of an escape room, and that's okay. But maybe you have a club where people read books together, and the more books that they read, they get more points for donating to charity. You can have exercise clubs where people virtually take a walk at once a day, and if they do it for 7 days, they get a donation. You can have photography. I used to love, we did this once a week. We submitted a picture, and then the winner of the picture of the week would get fin points, or everybody that contributed would get fin points. And sometimes we took those pictures then and in our physical space hung them up. We printed them out and hung them up. We did decorate your office for the holidays. And then everybody got to, see what everybody's workspace looked like, especially virtually. So there are a lot of different ways to pull those different introverts and extroverts in that can be good for them as well as other people. So it doesn't have to be necessarily the same game, but it can be in the case of an escape room. You can have all those different roles and just acknowledge those up front.
So let's talk impact. You are the Chief Impact Officer over there. So talk to us about the impact that you're able to make, working with your clients and the causes that you have realized that, significant contributions towards.
So that's definitely the best part of my job is, first of all, getting to identify. So one of the things I do is I curate causes. So in Fin, we have curated causes and we have vetted causes. So we have our select small amount of causes that we feel are really, really high impact and innovative. So we look for those causes that are doing things a little bit differently. And then depending on the level of our client, if they want things that are specific to them, specific to their location, they can either give us causes that they want to put on our platform, or they can say, this is the type of cause I'm looking for. I want it to be local to my offices that are here, here, and here. And I get to help find those causes that I feel are really high impact. So I do a lot of, might not sound fun, but I do a lot of research of charities and what they're doing and who's really making a difference in a very different way. We have some fantastic causes that are just really making some innovative strides and thinking about things in a very different, unique way.
Anyone you want to mention? Any particular causes you want to mention?
Yeah, sure. So in the Boston area, there's a cause called Commonwealth Kitchen. And what they do, and they pivoted a lot during the pandemic, but in the beginning, they were a shared kitchen space for entrepreneurs who wanted to start a food business and couldn't afford to have their own. So it's a shared kitchen space. They not only allow for the kitchen space, but they have entrepreneur training. So they teach them how to become an entrepreneur. They teach them how to be successful. And a lot of the people that started there, maybe had a food truck or catering, have now graduated to their own spaces and have their own restaurants all over Boston, which is amazing. And during the pandemic, they actually pivoted because they couldn't have a shared kitchen in the beginning. Yeah. And so what they did is they found resources to hire the people who used to be in the kitchen to come in and create prepared meals. They found local farmers that were having trouble selling things because they used to sell to restaurants. And they found the community organizations that knew people who were hungry. And they basically took all of this infrastructure together and created prepared meals that were culturally appropriate for the areas that they were giving them to, and distributed them through these communities and supported the local farmers as well. So it was really amazing, the work that they've done, and just so innovative and different. And there was another organization we have from New York City, Rethink Food, and they've done something very similar where they pivoted during the pandemic and did something really, really similar and supported those restaurants that were really struggling and gave them the ability to make it through the really tough time. And they've decided to continue that model, actually. And so that they're helping those restaurants make those base payments that they have, like the rent and things like that, through definite things like, we're going to have you do this many meals. So it kind of gave them that base and let them work through the pandemic. And I think, both of those organizations are great examples of food organizations. Great. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. I love to hear that. It's like helping people, be successful as entrepreneurs. I think that's so important. And it's nice to hear larger organizations see the value in that instead of other more common organizations that are traditionally donated to. So That's wonderful. So what else do we need to know about Finn? Tell us anything else that you haven't shared about Finn and, even how people can connect with you and learn about what you offer.
Yeah, so I think one of the main things to know about Finn is our goal is to help companies be more profitable and more purposeful together. I think that's really important. We're not like, you should just give all your money away. We're like, you should give your money away in a really thoughtful way that incorporates your employees and your customers, because we do the customer side as well. We have some restaurants that are doing like takeout and give back, and they actually give donations to their takeout customers for local causes, different things like that. And it's created this sense of really like, oh, this company is not just like walking the walk. They're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. And I think that's one of the things that's important when you start to get into purpose and philanthropy. There's a lot of on the sustainability side, you'd call it greenwashing, right? There's a lot of talk. We're doing this, we're doing that, but yet behind the scenes, they're doing all this other stuff. Yeah. I think that what we're trying to get people to do is start small, start thoughtfully, but start in a really genuine way, something that is a way that feels right to you and your company. And we help our companies do that. We help them figure that out.
It's amazing. I mean, I think it's so important to weave in the voice of the employee in these types of things, because it does have them feel more connected. I think that's so important versus like an organization saying, we will donate to here. It's sort of dictated to you and you're like, but that's not my thing. I prefer this instead of that. So I love that you work with organizations and get the voice of the employee before going down the road of like, what does that look like?
Yeah, we also work with the organizations to help educate the employees about what those organizations are about as well. So, we can do videos that are shown. We've done this where we reach out and do like interviews and videos and with the different causes, so that the employees can learn about them before they figure out where they want to put their donation.
Awesome. So how do people connect with you, Susie? We have your website at the bottom here on the ticker to reach out and see the website for Fin, www.finforgood.com. Any other way people, if they want to have a conversation with you about potentially coming into their organization?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me at susie@finforgood.com, my email, or on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for the work that you do. I'm so grateful to have met your brother and to have met you and to hear what you're up to. I think it's so important, especially now. And, we're all a little bit more conscientious of making a positive impact in the world, given everything we've been through. And I just think it's great what you do, and it's important what organizations can do to make a meaningful contribution in the world as well. So.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for having me. This has been wonderful. And I love what you do. And I love that you're working with companies on wellness and resilience. And that's so important.
Thank you, Susie. Awesome. All right. Well, we will stay in touch. And thank you for your time today. And I will see you soon.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.